December 1944. The Ardennes. Morning fog hangs low over the Belgian forests. A German King Tiger commander peers through his optics, searching the white landscape for movement. He is 29 years old. Behind him sits one of the most heavily protected armored vehicles ever built. Nearly 68 tons of steel. A glassy, roughly 150 millimeters thick. An 88 millimeter gun capable of destroying almost anything the Americans can put in front of it. For months, German crews have been told that American mobile anti-tank weapons are built around guns no larger than 76 millimeters. They have fought Shermans. They have fought M10 tank destroyers. They know what those weapons can do, and they know what they cannot do. Then, somewhere beyond the fog, a gun fires. The shell arrives before the German crew can identify its source. The King Tiger does not necessarily explode. It doesn't need to. The column stops. Turrets begin searching. Crews look for muzzle flash. Nothing. The Americans are already moving. What the Germans don't understand is that they have just encountered a weapon their intelligence service has been trying unsuccessfully to identify for months. A weapon that had already been killing German tanks in Western Europe. A weapon whose existence was hidden partly by secrecy and partly by bureaucracy. Its name was the M36. Its weapon was the 90mm M3. And for several critical months in 1944, German intelligence was looking directly at it and seeing something else to understand why the M36 mattered. We have to go back to Normandy. Summer 1944. The American army is moving through France, but German armor is becoming a serious problem. The Sherman was reliable. It was mechanically dependable. It was available in enormous numbers. But against the frontal armor of a Panther, the standard 75mm gun could be badly outmatched. American crews learned this lesson the hard way. A Sherman spots a Panther. The range is hundreds of yards. The gunner fires. The shell strikes. And sometimes it simply fails to penetrate. The German tank answers. One shot. The Sherman burns. This was not happening everywhere. It was not happening every time. And German tanks were not invincible, but the imbalance at the point of contact was real. A Panther could force an American crew to search for a flank. The American crew often had to maneuver into a position where the German tank could destroy them before they could return effective fire. That was the problem. America had tanks. It had artillery. It had aircraft. It had ammunition. It had factories producing armored vehicles at a scale Germany could no longer match. But none of those advantages changed the frightening experience inside one Sherman. When a Panther appeared in front of it, the crew still needed a weapon capable of killing that Panther. And the army already had one. It was simply not where it was needed. The American army had entered the war with a specific idea about how tanks should fight. Tanks were not supposed to spend their lives hunting enemy tanks. Their primary role was exploitation, break through, move rapidly, destroy infantry, destroy artillery, attack supply lines, keep moving. Enemy tanks were supposed to be dealt with by another arm, the tank destroyers. The concept made sense on paper. Fast vehicles, powerful guns, concealment, ambush, shoot, move, strike again. The problem was that Germany did not cooperate with the theory. German commanders used Panthers and Tigers wherever they were needed. They defended. They counterattacked. They fought from prepared positions. They appeared behind hedgerows. They appeared in villages. And increasingly, they carried guns that outranged American weapons, hunting them. The battlefield was exposing a gap between doctrine and reality. And one American general had become deeply associated with the doctrine. Leslie J. McNair, commander of Army Ground Forces, a career artillery officer, an advocate of the tank destroyer concept. McNair had considerable influence over how American ground forces prepared for armored warfare. But the war was changing faster than the doctrine. And then came the tests. American Ordnance officers had tested anti-tank guns against armor plates. The results looked encouraging. The 76mm gun appeared capable of defeating German armor at useful ranges. On paper, the numbers worked. But combat was not conducted on paper. Real German armor was not simply a laboratory plate. Its construction, hardness, slope, and quality could change the performance of an American projectile. And battlefield crews were discovering something the reports had failed to communicate. Their weapons were not always performing the way the laboratory figures had promised. The result was one of the most dangerous problems an army can have. Not ignorance, false confidence. A commander who knows his weapon is weak may compensate. He closes the range. He searches for a flank. He calls for artillery. He waits for aircraft. But a commander who believes his weapon is adequate may enter a fight expecting something that never happens. The shell hits. The enemy survives. And the crew inside the American tank has seconds to understand why. The answer had existed for years. The 90mm gun. It had originally been developed as an anti-aircraft weapon. The Army needed a gun capable of reaching aircraft flying at increasingly high altitudes. The 90mm M1 could throw a heavy projectile at high velocity. But someone eventually asked an obvious question. If the gun can send a shell high into the sky, what happens when the barrel points horizontally? The answer was potentially devastating. The gun could become an anti-tank weapon. But putting a huge gun onto an existing tank destroyer was not simple. The first attempt was the T-53. It was rushed, it was awkward, and it failed to become the answer. Engineers went back to work. This time they took the M10 tank destroyer chassis. They removed the old turret. They designed a larger one. And they created something new, the T-71, later standardized as the M36 90mm gun motor carriage. The vehicle kept the basic M10 layout, but the gun changed everything. The 90mm M3 was the heart of the machine. It could fire a projectile weighing roughly 24 pounds. Its muzzle velocity depended on the ammunition type, but the weapon gave American crews a major increase in anti-armor capability. The price was protection. The M36 still had an open turret. The crew could be exposed to artillery fragments, small arms fire from elevated positions, and other battlefield hazards. It was not a tank. It was a tank destroyer. Its job was not to stand in the open and exchange armor plates. Its job was to hide, shoot, and disappear. The first production M36's appeared in 1944. But producing a weapon and getting it to a battlefield are two different things. Vehicles had to be manufactured. Crews had to be trained. Ammunition had to be stockpiled. Units had to learn the new weapon. Ships had to cross the Atlantic. Railroads had to move the vehicles. Trucks had to take them forward. And while all of this was happening, American crews were still fighting in M10s. The M36 was not instantly available everywhere. Some battalions converted in the autumn of 1944. The 703rd Tank Destroyer Battalion began converting to M36s at the end of September. The 814th was re-equipped with M36s in October. Those dates matter because the M36 entered the European battlefield during a period when Germany was already running out of time. The weapon was arriving just as the war was entering its final and most dangerous phase. The exact circumstances surrounding every early M36 engagement are difficult to reconstruct. Some unit records are incomplete. Some after-action reports describe the target, but not the weapon. Some crews never survived to tell their stories. But the pattern becomes clear. American tank destroyers began engaging German armor from ranges that previously would have been considered extremely difficult for American mobile anti-tank guns. A Panther appears. The M36 waits. The German crew sees nothing. The American gunner has a target. The 90mm fires. The Panther is hit. And then the M36 moves. This was the important part. The 90mm did not magically turn the M36 into an invulnerable machine. The vehicle was still lightly protected. Its turret was still open. Its crew could still be killed. A German tank could still destroy it. But the balance had changed. For the first time, American tank destroyer crews had a weapon that gave them a much greater chance of killing German heavy armor before the German tank could simply dominate the engagement. The M36 had changed the question. Before, how do we survive this German tank? Now, where can we kill it from? This is where the story becomes stranger. German intelligence was very good at many things, but intelligence systems have a weakness. They depend on information, and information has to travel. A damaged M36 could be examined. A captured vehicle could reveal its secrets. A destroyed vehicle could expose its ammunition. German technical personnel could measure the gun barrel. They could inspect the ammunition. They could determine the caliber. The evidence could be sitting right in front of them. But that did not mean the information immediately reached every commander who needed it. Photographs had to be interpreted. Reports had to be written. Documents had to move. Analysts had to recognize what they were seeing. And analysts do something all humans do. They compare new information with what they already believe. A vehicle that looked like an M10? Perhaps it was an M10. A large gun? Maybe improved ammunition. A tank destroyed at long range? Perhaps artillery. Or a British weapon. Or a new American shell. The explanation that requires the fewest changes to the existing intelligence picture is often the explanation that survives. That is how an army can look directly at a new weapon and fail to recognize it. Then Germany launched its final major offensive in the West, the Ardennes, the Battle of the Bulge. Before dawn on December 16th, German artillery opened fire across the front. The objective was enormous: break through the American lines, cross the Meuse, capture Antwerp, split the Allied armies, force a political crisis. For the first time in months, German armor was moving west in strength. Among the tanks were Panthers, Tigers, and King Tigers. The King Tiger weighed roughly 68 tons. Its frontal armor was enormous. Its 88mm KWK-43 gun was one of the most powerful tank guns of the war. German crews had every reason to respect their machine, but they were entering a battlefield where another weapon was waiting, the M36's. Vith was not just another Belgian town. It was a road junction. Roads ran through it in multiple directions. And in a German offensive built around speed, roads were everything. The longer the Americans held St. Vith, the more the German timetable suffered. American defenders were being assembled from units that had not been designed to fight together. Infantry, engineers, artillerymen, armored units, tank destroyers. The 814th Tank Destroyer Battalion was among the formations fighting with the 7th Armored Division. Its crews had only recently received their M36's. Now they were facing German armor in the Ardennes. Fog, snow, poor visibility, no reliable air support, and German tanks moving toward them. This was exactly the environment in which a tank destroyer could be dangerous. The M36 did not need to overpower a King Tiger in a straight duel. It needed a concealed firing position, a clear field of fire, a target, and enough time to fire before the Germans found it. The crew fired, then moved. Another position, another shot, another withdrawal. The battlefield became a series of sudden appearances. A flash, a shell, a burning German vehicle, then silence. There is an important distinction here. The M36 90mm gun was powerful, but it was not a magic weapon. A standard M77 armor-piercing round could not simply defeat the frontal armor of a King Tiger at 2,000 yards. That popular image is misleading. The King Tiger's glacis was approximately 150mm thick and heavily sloped. Against such armor, geometry mattered enormously. Range mattered. Ammunition mattered, impact angle mattered, and the location of the hit mattered. The M36's real advantage was that it gave American crews more options. Side armor, rear armor, turret sides, weak points, flanking positions, close-range shots when necessary, and with specialized ammunition such as HVAP, a much more capable anti-armor projectile under favorable conditions. The lesson was not the 90mm could kill every German tank from any distance. The real lesson was the 90mm gave American crews a weapon powerful enough to make German armor vulnerable in situations where the older guns were much less effective. That difference is crucial, and it makes the story more interesting, not less. Further north, Joachim Pieper's armored spearhead was racing west. The mission was simple: move quickly, capture bridges, reach the Meuse, continue toward Antwerp. But the Ardennes was not built for 68-ton tanks. Narrow roads, weak bridges, villages, sharp turns, mud, snow, fuel shortages, and American resistance. The German offensive began to slow. Every delay mattered. Every destroyed vehicle mattered. Every gallon of fuel mattered. The M36's did not defeat the German offensive alone. Artillery mattered. Infantry mattered. Engineers mattered. American reinforcements mattered. And eventually Allied aircraft returned to the skies. But the M36 added another problem for German commanders. They could no longer assume that an American tank destroyer was armed with the familiar 3-inch weapon. Something heavier was out there, and they did not always know where. Around Gramino, American tank destroyers fought German armor at varying ranges. Panthers, Panzer IVs, other armored vehicles. The M36 90mm was proving its worth. German crews noticed. German commanders noticed. But intelligence still had trouble explaining exactly what was happening. One explanation was especially attractive: British tungsten ammunition. The British 17-pounder was already known. Its ammunition was capable of defeating German armor under conditions that made American crews envious. So when German reports described unexpectedly high American penetration, the British explanation was convenient. It fit the existing intelligence picture. The alternative was more disturbing. The Americans had introduced a new 90mm tank destroyer gun, and German intelligence had not properly tracked it. The wrong explanation survived for a little longer. Then the paperwork caught up with reality. Captured vehicles had been examined. Gun barrels had been measured. Ammunition had been inspected. Photographs had been taken. Reports had been written. Somewhere inside the German system, the evidence accumulated. The American M36 carried a 90mm gun, not a modified 76, not a magical tungsten round, not British ammunition, 90mm. The information eventually reached German commanders. But by then, the Battle of the Bulge was collapsing. Germany's fuel was running out. Its armor formations had suffered enormous losses. Allied aircraft were returning to the skies. American reinforcements were arriving. The German offensive had failed. The information was accurate. It was simply late, months late, and on a battlefield moving as quickly as the Western Front in 1944 and 1945, months could mean the difference between a secret weapon and an irrelevant weapon. After the war, the M36 acquired a reputation: the big American tank destroyer, the 90mm gun, the machine that could finally challenge German heavy armor. That reputation contains truth, but it also contains mythology. The M36 was not invulnerable. It was not designed to stand toe-to-toe with a king tiger in an open field. And many tank destroyer crews valued something else: speed. The M18 Hellcat could move at roughly 55 mph under favorable road conditions. The M36 was considerably slower. The Hellcat's 76mm gun was less powerful, but the M18 was fast. It could disappear before German artillery arrived. For a tank destroyer crew, surviving the engagement was often more important than having the largest possible gun. The bigger gun could kill. The faster vehicle could keep the crew alive. And the crews understood that difference better than anyone writing about the war decades later. By the end of the war, thousands of American armored vehicles had crossed Europe. The M36 was only one part of the machine. Its importance should not be exaggerated, but neither should it be dismissed. The M36 gave American forces something they badly needed in late 1944: a mobile anti-tank weapon with enough firepower to seriously threaten German medium and heavy armor. But where it appeared, German commanders had to take it seriously. And the deeper lesson is bigger than the M36. Germany produced extraordinary weapons. The King Tiger was enormously powerful. German engineers created jets, rocket weapons, advanced tanks. But war is not won by one extraordinary machine. It is won by systems. Factories, fuel, ammunition, training, transportation, intelligence, maintenance, replacement crews. The M36 story began as an answer to a simple problem. American guns were struggling against German armor. The answer was a bigger gun. But the final lesson was more complicated. The 90mm did not make the M36 invincible. It did not make the King Tiger obsolete overnight. It did not win the Battle of the Bulge by itself. What it did was remove one of the German armored forces' psychological advantages. German crews had been accustomed to believing that American tank destroyers had limited firepower. Suddenly, some of those vehicles could hit much harder, and the Germans did not immediately know which ones. A tank commander who does not know what is hiding beyond the hedgerow has to guess. And guessing costs time. Sometimes it costs tanks. Sometimes it costs lives. By March 1945. The M36 was no longer a secret. American forces were crossing the Rhine. The 814th Tank Destroyer Battalion crossed at Remagen with the advancing Allied forces. The Western Front was collapsing. The weapon that had once been unknown was now simply another tool of the American advance. The M36 would survive the war. Some examples remained in service for decades. Others were transferred to Allied armies. Some were modified. Some were re-engined. Some survived long after the men who had first fired them were gone. But its most important moment lasted only a few months. Autumn 1944. Winter 1944 to 45. A period when American crews were learning that their new gun could change an engagement, while German intelligence was still trying to understand what had changed. That is what makes the M36 story remarkable. Not that it was a wonder weapon. It wasn't. Not that it could destroy every German tank at every range. It couldn't. The remarkable part is that the battlefield changed, and the intelligence picture failed to change with it. The Americans had built a new weapon. They had put it into combat. German crews were already dying from it. And somewhere behind the front line, analysts were still writing reports about the old American guns. The weapon was real. The evidence was real. The reports were real. Only the understanding was missing. And by the time Germany finally understood what the M36 was, the 90mm had arrived, and the battlefield would never be quite the same again.